Well, hey everybody, it's Cookster here. I'm finally back. After over a year, I'm about working on my dad's C10 behind me here. So let me show you what we got and what we're doing. So I'm in bodywork mode on this truck, and I apologize for the lack of some light. I got to get some more lights in this half of my shop, but you get you get the idea. The last sheet metal work I had done, well, actually, let me recap. The doors have both been taken off. I had to put I repaired the door skins, the door bottoms. I will show you all that later in another video when I get that far. I have put new rocker panels on both sides, inner and outer. Did a lot of repair down here in the bottom of the core, or the pillar support, A-pillar at the bottom on both sides. Like I said, rocker panels. This, actually, I think that side I put a floor pan piece in. This side I don't think I did. I don't remember, honestly. I might have put floor pans in both sides until I get down there and actually look and inspect it. I believe I put floor pan pieces in both sides. Anyway, that's not important. I'll describe that when I get in there and remember again. 'Cause right now I just can't remember. But definitely rocker in and outer over here. Lower portion of the A pillar. I also replaced the lower portion of the B pillar back here on this side. Both rear cab corners need to be replaced. Obviously I have not done it yet. I got to get the bed off to be able to do that. I've got a video about the rust repair on the cowl that I videoed a lot of this work before most of this, in fact pretty much all this sheet metal work I had videoed before I even started my YouTube channel, before I even thought about it. I did get some of this up area in here. I've got a video about that, which actually a lot of guys are watching more than anything else on my channel. So I'm assuming, my guess all along was these C10 trucks are pretty popular, way more popular than the Fords. Darn it, I'm a Ford guy. But anyway, so I had done a bunch of rust repair all along the cowl on both sides. Had a repair inside of here for the windshield wiper. None of this I've got documented. I got a few photographs along the way, which I may try and link to show one day. Windshield obviously is out. I had rust repair to do around the window. Not bad, but a little bit. There's a couple of pinholes I see here that I haven't repaired. I missed those. Of course, those won't leak. I could just seal those up, which might have been my intention, was to just put some sealer on them. I don't know. So, and then I had a bunch of rust repair to do in both the corners. Inside the cab, let me grab a light. I'm gonna need a light. Hang on. Inside the cab, there was a lot of rust in this section here on the inner cab. You can still see some pinholes here that I haven't welded up yet, and a few over there, but it was really bad in the center. So I had fixed all that over a year ago, pretty much when I stopped working on this thing. That's what I was doing. I had the patch panel for this made, I just never welded it in. And then on the roof, I think that's all I was going to talk about in the cab. On the roof, let me get up here. The roof of this truck, like the whole truck, was very straight. Dad had put a CB antenna back in here in the 70s, so there was a hole here. I welded the hole up. I stripped it, of course, rust, treated it for rust, got all down inside the seam here and treated all that, got the drip rails. Got all that done, and then this is the two-part primer, urethane primer on here. Shot it with primer, and that's where I left it. So where I need to pick up now, I need to block this down at least once. Probably gonna block it twice. Then I will seal the drip rail. I was just crossing my fingers all in the years outside, not years, the year or so I sat outside, and I had it covered up. The water didn't get down here and re-rust it. And from what I can see, it looks good. It's dirty, but doesn't look rusty. So anyway, after I get all that cleaned out and re-primed, I'll be sealing this drip rail. What I still have to do on the cab, I got to pull the back glass so I can get down in here, all up under the glass. There's some filler back here. There was some dents in the back, so I've re-wiped all that. So basically, I just got to continue on down the cab, get the back glass out, go around the rest of the window and the lower under the window, and then the two. Show you. Fall and bust my neck here. Come on down the window posts, at least till here until I get the bed off. Get all that primed, and got to seal the drip rails all the way around. Got to seal under here. Got all the sealer work to do. So that's what I'm starting to work on now. I'm going to work on next. Is getting the roof blocked and ready to be sealed up. And that will lead to all the rest of the bodywork in the cab. I don't know how much time I'm going to work on this truck right now. This is the middle of July. By sometime in August, I want to have my Model A in here, which means this truck will have to be pushed back out. So I don't know how far I get. I certainly want to get the roof done and sealed up so I can set it outside and not worry about water getting in there and rusting the pinch weld or the seam at the top. I also want to get this piece put back in finally and weld it up. So we'll just see over the next week or two or three how far I get. So for now, y'all have watched me block sanding before, but a lot of y'all probably haven't watched my Ford videos, so maybe you haven't seen. So I'll set the camera up and kind of show you my block sanding methods and how I do it and what I do, and we'll go from there. Block sanding. I know most of you Chevrolet guys are here to watch the Chevrolet stuff, and I get that and I appreciate that. But a lot of this block sanding I've gone over in pretty good detail in some of my Ford videos. So if you look back over some of those, if you're here to watch block sanding, look back at some of my Ford videos that talk about block sanding. I go into pretty good detail. I'm also going to try and do it here, whether I'll get in a hurry and forget. But anyway, block sanding. So I use these Dura Blocks. This one's I don't know, 11 inch, 12 inch, whatever. They make different sizes. This is like a 6 or 5 or whatever. They've also got one that's like 2 feet. I've got one of those. This roof's got enough crown into it. The 11 inch block is about right. I could use a big 12 inch block, but I don't think I need to. Also, this roof's really straight. Like I said earlier, I only had to wipe a little spot right here where I welded that antenna hole up, and then there was a dent or two over here. Nothing major. There were some dents in the back. You can't see my finger, but there were some dents in this back panel here above the rear glass that I wiped. But all in all, and this whole truck is really straight. So anyway, this is 180, the 3M 3M Imperial Gold, I think it's called. It's the only paper I use. It's good paper. It's expensive, but and there's other paper out there that costs less. It does a pretty good job. It's just the paper I like. I'd use it forever. All the way back when I was a body man for a job many years ago. So basically what you do with block sanding is you crisscross. You probably have seen other people, if you watch them, talk about crisscross. And there's not a lot of light here, unfortunately. I got to get some more light. I got a flashlight I'll try to get out. But you crisscross. You don't sand in a line. Don't ever block sanding period. Don't ever do that, especially not with a block or sandpaper, because all you're gonna do is cut ridges and lines and grooves. You always want to sand. I just call it crisscross. You can turn your block different ways and sand, like when you sand the edge like this. You can't see that. I'll show it better later. But here out in the middle, it's just a big long crisscross pattern. And this primer's over a year old, so what I'm really doing right now is just knocking down the top of it. Kind of see what I got. And as I've talked about in my other sanding videos, I used to be a body man for a living for about 10 years, and then I've been fixing cars all in all since I was, what, 17, I believe. So I've done a lot of this body work, and I can read primer. I can read a panel just about by eyesight. You know, with standing and knowing what's going on. I do use guide coat, but I don't use it all the time because I don't need to. And that's, a lot of y'all are going to say that's wrong, whatever. And not like I said in other videos, you're entitled to your own opinion. This is just what works for me and my experience level. That might sound kind of arrogant, but hey, that's just the way it is. So like I said, I'm just kind of blocking this rough, not roughly, just getting it scratched up and seeing, so I can see what I got. And in a moment, I will move the camera because I realize you can't see much of what I'm doing, not in detail. So, let me finish doing this, and I'll grab the camera and bring you in for a closer look. All right, I've been over this and sanded it a rough pass, not detailed. Let me see. Well, first off, you see the primer here, but you see the dark spots and these couple of pinholes or rust pits here. There's a dark spot right in here. You can see what I was telling you about reading the primer. You can see there's light spots and dark spots. Anywhere there's a dark spot, and I noticed you're having a hard time seeing, there's low spots. Whether it's sand scratches like these are, this might be a little low dent spot right here. Got a little low spot right here. See that dark spot? And then this truck roof was heavily rust pitted. It wasn't rusted through by any means. It had a lot of pits in it. So I can see all the rust pits here that I'm really going to have to sand to get those filled in. There's sand scratches here. You can probably see some of. Like I mentioned, there's some rust pits right here. They're pretty deep. I got to fill those in with some putty or filler. And then right here again, more rust pits. And then there's a little dent I missed. Little low spot right there, not very low, but a little low. There's a dent that I missed right here. Kind of, the light over here is not good. There's definitely a dent right here I missed. See that big dark spot? That's definitely a dent that I missed. And then there's also one right here. And by missed, I mean a lot of times when you're doing the first initial pass of wiping with filler and getting all the big stuff fixed, a lot of times you'll miss small stuff. It's kind of common. It happens, even to the best of us or worst of us, depending on how you want to look at it. So I will have to wipe some filler in here and here. There's a bit of a high spot right here that I don't like, and a low spot right here, and I'm feeling that all with my hands. I can see it in the primer too, but you probably can't. So that's what I was meant by you can read the filler. If I had to use guide coat, I'd see the same thing. It would just be black staring out at me. But I don't need to use guide coat. It's just it's a step like rough blocking like this. I don't need it. I can see and feel everything I need to do. If I'm getting down to the final sanding, or I got a big panel like a hood or something that's had the crap beat out of it, or just many reasons, I'll get guide coat out. But for the first initial work, generally, I don't need to use it. If you guys need to use it, feel like you should use it, there's no reason not to. Especially you guys that are learning. Use guide coat. It's not going to hurt anything. The fact that I don't use it doesn't mean you shouldn't. It just means I got enough experience where a lot of times I don't need to. And that's, again, might sound like I'm boasting or arrogant. It's not. I'm not. It's just how things are. And also, in case you're wondering, all the dirt down in the drip rail, I'm not going to sand all that in. I'm going to wait till I get my initial sanding done and then get some soap out, TSP or something, and wash that really good before I sand it. So just in case you're wondering, I won't sand all that dirt into my primer. I'm going to wash it clean and then sand it. So I've got a lot of more. I want to sand this really aggressively, not with aggressive sandpaper, but I got to sand it a lot. So and it's kind of hard with this camera. I guess if I back up back here, try to find a good camera angle to film this with. And a lot of y'all aren't even gonna watch this. You're gonna say block sanding, you know, but that's fine. But for the few of y'all, you know, that are watching, you know, let me get the camera reset up and we'll keep sanding. I got to change sandpaper. That piece of paper I used was old, so let me get some new paper and we'll keep moving. Alright, now you can get a better view, I think, of what I'm doing when well, pretty much. So again, it's just the crisscross, and then we'll go from there. Now, I guess I'm probably in the way, and I'll try and sand, well, let's see if I can move the camera. Alright, I'll raise my camera up. Maybe you can see a little bit better. So again, I'm sanding this area up pretty with rust pitted pretty aggressively. Still using only 180. Your first block sanding on your primer is always at least for me, is always 180. The other guys do it differently. I've always done it with 180. So I'll show you in detail. But these low spots right here are really starting to show up in the dark gray, where it's a little low, or rust pitted, or both. So the goal, this I forgot to mention a while ago, the entire goal of block sanding is to get everything straight, which seems like an oxymoron. Of course it's to get stuff straight. But what you're doing is blocking out all the ridges and the lumps and the bumps and the high spots, all the things that when you put Bondo on and sand it, you think, I got it. But you still got to block it with primer, block your primer to get that final bit of straightness to it. And if you ever seen a car painted, it's full of what we call buttholes, low spots and high spots and ripples. That's where the filler wasn't blocked sufficiently or at all, and you know, wasn't straightened out. Some of that body work you see is just bad body work and can't be fixed. Well, others of it is just they didn't block enough or know how to do it correctly or whatever. If you haven't noticed me, I'm sweating like a racehorse in here. It's like 80% humidity. And that's the problem when you're block sanding, because you get your sweat on what you're sanding, and clogs your sandpaper and all that good stuff. So you try not to do that, but it's going to happen. So anyway, I just see my sandpaper's loading up here where I had sweat on it, and I'm trying to get around it and work it off. So I can see a high spot or a low spot right here that I got to work on. And I don't guess I mentioned it. Well, I got a color in mind for this truck, and I guess I'm not going to mention it yet, but it's a darker color. And I want this truck to be straight, obviously, and it's already, like I mentioned before, it's already pretty darn straight. But when you paint anything with a dark color, if it's crooked or not straight or wavy, boy, them dark colors show it. So I'm really going to try and be careful here to get this thing really, really straight, which I would do anyway. But with a dark color, you've got to be extra vigilant. There's the word I'm looking for. And get it straight, straight, straight. So I will, when I get through sanding here, I'll get the camera back up here and show you. I'm not sure what you can see from here. I've got a little ridge, high spot ridge right here that'll probably block out. A little low right here, and a little low trough, and then a little high spot right here. Now I'm not talking about dents or held pops or anything. These are just waves in the factory sheet metal, pretty much. They were always there. You got to block all that mess out if you want a super sharp, super straight paint job. And eventually you'll get down to close to bare metal and or filler. And that's basically when you stop on this first blocking. I put a comment in one of my other videos, and I was being funny, but it's true. I'm sure somebody's asking out there, how do you know when to stop blocking? Well, you stop when it's straight. Which is a smart aleck answer, but it's true. It is the answer. The trick is how to know when you got it straight, obviously. And that's just experience, reading the primer, using the guide code if you need to, if you want to. There's lots of ways. And of course you can see it. As you get down into like 320 grits and then 400, and even if you want to go as far as 600, especially wet sanding one, you'll see it by that point. You can see waves. You might look at them and tell yourself they're not really there because you don't want to go back and fix them or whatever. Or maybe you don't have enough skill to know how to fix it. But you can look at it and see them. They're pretty obvious if you just look. Wishing them away is not going to help. Not going to work, believe me. Again, especially not on a dark color. White's a bit forgiving. Light colors, they are forgiving. I mean, if you know what to look for, you can still find the ripples and the waves and whatever. But just sitting there looking at it, it's they are much more forgiving than a dark color. So I said before, I'm reaching primer or bare metal. I didn't already say it. I primed this roof first with epoxy primer. I use black epoxy primer so I get a good contrast. They make a gray epoxy primer, but you don't get a good contrast between the two different grays. With the black and the gray, you get a really good contrast. It's almost like guide code in a way, on this first blocking at least. So most of what you see dark here is the epoxy primer showing through. And I try my best to not sand through that epoxy primer. It's on there for a reason. You don't want to cut it off. You want to leave it on there. Sometimes you cut through it and it can't be helped, but you try not to. Out in my shop, it's 85 degrees and about 85% humidity, so the sweat is real, folks. I'm not pretending. I'm not play acting. Now I'm getting some pits here that I think are just low spots, or rust pits in the sheet metal. Little dark circles you see. I'm pretty sure we'll block out with one more primer. And that's another thing I haven't mentioned. This is the first round of priming and block sanding. I'm going to prime it. Yeah. I'm going to prime it and block sand it at least one more time with 180. Well, I may go to 320 depending on how straight I get it. And then probably block it a third time. So I think I'm going to block sand it 3 times in total. And I should have it straight by then. Straight, all the sand scratches out, all the things you have to do before you paint one. Somebody's probably going to bitch about me not wearing a mask. A couple of reasons. One, with a mask on, I can't really talk to the camera. And then I'm up above what I'm sanding. I'm sanding down here. My face is up here, so I'm not generating a lot of dust up in my face. If I was doing a fender or a door or something where I was down side of it with my face in the dust, I'd put a mask on. But I'm not here. And talking to the camera kind of gets in the way. Now back here on the back, I got a little low ripple right here next to this seam. which is not unusual. It's where the seam kind of little wave, and those again will probably block out with one more blocking. I mean, they're so small, but yet they are there. When I get, like I said, when I get done sanding here, I'm going to get the camera up here and show you all this in detail. And just remember, once I get this done and blocked, we get to do it all over again. 2 more times. 2 more times. But that's what it takes to get one straight. I could probably get away with one more, but I like to do it twice just to make sure. And as I said, this is going to be a dark color. I want to make darn sure I got it straight. And there's already a couple of low spots I know I got to fix that I missed. I got to account for that too. This area right here is rust pit central. So I'm going to have to prime that really good, maybe even wipe a little putty over it. Not the red putty stuff. I use the epoxy or the polyester putty. I'll get to that step. I'll show you what I use. Don't use that red stuff in the blue tube. It shrinks. You don't want to use that. If you care about your paint job lasting, don't use that red stuff in the tube. See, I'm down to bare metal right there. I really do not want to do that, but I did. But all those rust pits, I pretty much didn't have a choice. That'll resand. That'll probably come out when I prime it again. This is block sanding, folks. I know it gets boring and it can be tedious, but it has to be done. It has to be done correctly if you want a good paint job. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but I'm filming it. This is also real time. At the moment, I'm not, whether I'll fast forward or not, I don't know. But this is real time. So as long as it takes me to block it, that's what we're doing. Some people will think about how do you do that without getting tired. Well, I mean, tired's relative. It's all what you're used to. I've done this before where I'd sand all day, you know, when I was on a job. You know, when it was my job, I had to do it all day. Now that was 30 years ago, but since it was my job. But, you know, I've kept doing it along, and, you know, I'm used to it, physically. My arms are used to it. You also try to get as comfortable as you can. The way I'm standing and the way I'm using my arms and my shoulders and all, I'm in a good position to not get so tired. If I was standing up and down, which you can't see, if I was standing up and down or in an awkward position, all that leads to fatigue. Faster fatigue, much faster, much quicker. Words. I am gonna pause for a second, get something to drink. So I'll be back. But I'm standing in this area where I fixed the hole. Well, that hole for that antenna, CD antenna. Got a couple of spots here that are a little bit low, a little bit high, so I'm working them. I think I mentioned, or maybe I didn't, you can feel dents and stuff with your hands, especially as you get more experience. A good body man can feel dents with his hands. Even amateurs, if the dent's big enough, they can feel it. And the more experience they get, the better they get with it, get at it. So, you know, I'm using my hands, my eyes to see this, see what I'm doing. It looks like I'm just standing to be standing, but there's distinct low spots right here, right here, right here, that I'm definitely working on. There's a method to what may appear not to be one. There certainly is. Be a body man, they say. Blocks hand in the summertime, they say. Woo! That's the paste, sand and dust sweat paste. It's on both my arms. I can't touch. See all these white marks? That's the Bondo dust, sand and dust paste mess. Let me go clean up. I'm done sanding. Let me go clean up and I'll come back and show you what I got. Alright, let me show you what I got here. So obviously I've sanded over the entire roof. The dark spots, most of what you see is the epoxy primer where I shined. Sanded through, down to the epoxy primer. Well, these are ripples and low spots and nothing huge. It's just factory ripples and things that you have to get straight when you're blocking one. Now, little spots like up here, these are those rust pits. A few of them are pretty deep. I could probably prime them out, but I'm going to wipe them with some filler, some putty. A few of these dark spots you see here, those are again rust pits, pretty deep ones. Got some right there, got one right there. Here you see a little dark spot in the primer. That's a little low spot wave. We got one right here that's almost a dent. We got a spot here that I had to wipe with filler. That's some sand scratches that are priming up, blocking out. Here's filler, a couple little sand marks I gotta fill with just a little bit of putty. Again, the heavy pitted rust pits up here, and then up here. And we got some right here that are pretty deep, so I'm probably going to put filler in these. Got a little low spot all right here and here. This will all block out. It's blocked. It just needs one more blocking to straighten it. I said the little ripple here that's almost a dent, I might put filler in that. And then same thing here. See the little dark spots, little ripples. This corner over here was kind of rippled up. You can see the waves in the sheet metal. And then we got some rust pit right here, low spot. And that little dent I was talking about right here, almost blocked out. But I'm going to put a little bit of filler in that. It's a small dent, really small, but it was there for sure. And then I think I mentioned this ripple right here. But all in all, this roof is straight. I just got to go back and work these little small ripples and a few rust pits, deep pits, and a couple of ripples in the sheet metal. But all in all, it's straight. And one or two more blockings will have it. So what's next for now? What's next for now would be to go ahead and sand this back here. I want to work this crease, and I want to finish sanding all around the drip rail and the drip rail. But before I'm going to do that, like I said, I'm going to wash it with some soap, get some TSP probably, get in there and clean that out, get that dirt and grime out of there before I sand it. And then I'll work all that down and sand it, and then it'll be time to prime it again. But I got to quit for the day. It's getting late and I got something I got to go do. So I'm going to clean this off right quick, wash it so I can dry overnight, and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll continue on. So I'll see you tomorrow. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and call this video here. This video is getting long again. All I seem to be doing is making long videos, and I don't know, to each their own, right? But I'm going to go ahead and call this video here. We've got the block sanding done on this side. I'm going to get the block sanding finished on that side off camera. So thanks for being here. Thanks for looking in. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing, learning something, all the good stuff. Me and my stupid hijinks and my sweat out here in the 85 day. So thanks for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. And I will catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now. You hear? Yeehaw.